We're going to show you a hand today from the Pokerstars big game that illustrates how Daniel Negreanu loves talking rich amateurs out of their money.
in this case, rich amateur and sometime movie star Jennifer Tilly. She was actually Oscar nominated for Bullets Over Broadway. So
hey, good for her.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, now she's in a hand against Daniel Negreanu, and she's got a really tough decision. I don't know if she's going to make the right one.
No spoilers, but it's going to be an interesting river.
Yeah, it's
I'll
going to
say
be
that
interesting for sure.
This hand was suggested to us by Casey on Twitter. If you have a suggestion for the breakdown, tweet it at us and include a YouTube link. Now we're going to break this hand down as we go, so get ready for some analysis.
Well, I'm in.
Oh, we know.
Daniel raises to 1600, 8-6 suited for Jen.
Take it.
3 bets to 3,500. 35.
I like the thought of 3-betting Daniel's button pretty wide, but that's not going to be enough to get him the full pre-flop.
Tony G's out, and Nacho.
It's a little too small, Jen. Phil Locke is going to be upset with you after that raise size because it's too small. Because like a real, sizable one puts me to a decision. Now I don't really have one.
Joe, we looked. You had aces.
You know what I'm saying, right? You get
Yeah, I understand.
it. Okay. You probably misclicked.
Last time I took advice from you, I lost the tournament.
Sorry. See, if you would have raised like a lot more, this hand probably doesn't get called. Now you're out of position. Cover spot.
I am out of position.
See, that's the thing.
This is a new thing I'm dabbling with, the min raise.
The min re-raise out of position?
Yeah. The min re-raise out of
insanity.
position. That's like a...
It's insanity.
Daniel's called. We'll see a flop. 8-10-4.
Okay, now I'm going to do the dunk bet.
That's not a donk bet because you were the pre-flop raiser.
Oh, okay, it's not a dunk bet.
It's a continuation bet.
A continuation bet.
Jennifer did flop the best hand.
Bets 5,000 with middle pair.
And now you're in a tough spot because there's a lot of funky stuff that could happen over there.
I know, that's a very textured board.
Yeah, a lot of bad cards could come off, and then I can just bluff raise the turn or something stupid like that.
You could.
Turn a pair into a bluff. I'm really good at that. It's one of my big things Bill Reynolds taught me. Flop a pair, you think they got a bigger one, just raise, bluff them on the turn.
Welcome to the view. Daniel makes the call.
A lot of weird stuff goes down pre-flop in this hand, beginning with Daniel Negreanu's very strange min-raise of the straddle. This is not a common play by Daniel.
No, we're pretty sure this is just a mistake, that he doesn't realize the straddle is on, because I don't think I've ever seen Daniel min-raise in a cash game ever, and certainly this is not a hand he would choose to do it with. What with Tony G in the big blind, he's inviting both the big blind and the straddler in when he's min-raising with a hand so bad. Ace-deuce, not a hand you want to be called.
The value of ace-deuce pre-flop is that you have a blocker, makes it less likely that your opponents have aces, makes it more likely you can just win the pot pre-flop, and this is not the way to accomplish that, so it's just got to be an error by Daniel and not a strategic mistake.
Right. However, someone who does make a strategic mistake in the hand is, of course, Jennifer Tilly. Now, Daniel explains really well why this is a mistake, so let's just listen in.
A little too small, Jen. Phil Locke is going to be upset with you after that raise size because it's too small. Because like a real, sizable one puts me to a decision. Now I don't really have one.
Joe, we looked. You had aces.
You know what I'm saying, right? You get
Yeah, I understand.
it. Okay. You probably misclicked.
Last time I took advice from you, I lost the tournament.
Sorry. See, if you would have raised like a lot more, this hand probably doesn't get called. Now you're out of position. Cover spot.
I am out of position.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah, we're not going to say it any better than that. He's totally right. The really interesting part about it is that he's telling the truth about a strategic thing to his opponent that he's currently playing the hand against. This is something that only Daniel Negreanu does, and that's why it's really fun to watch him on TV. He also says this about his own hand.
See, if you would have raised like a lot more, this hand probably doesn't get called.
Which is interesting as well. It kind of caps his range.
Indeed it does. And again, it's truthful, which is just fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think he just thinks he can outthink and outplay Jennifer so frequently that he doesn't need that extra edge of her not knowing exactly what his range is, pretty much.
He can also choose when to lie and when to tell the truth, which is, something, so he can be mostly truthful and then throw a lie in there, here and there.
Yeah, and he does that sometimes.
And he's good at that, yeah. So that may be in play as well. But it's pretty incredible to watch him just lay it out for her.
Right, and then we get to the flop, and Tilly's bet is completely standard. Even though she hits a piece, she probably would have bet even if she didn't.
Yeah.
Negreanu's call is the really interesting thing on the flop here. Obviously, this is not a good flop for ace-deuce. There aren't many good flops for ace-deuce, so he has to have a plan in mind.
Yeah, the plan has got to be, I'm going to win this pot later on most of the time, and I'm sure he's hoping Jennifer's going to check the turn, hoping that she just missed her unpaired cards like the ace-queens of the world or something like that, and he's just going to win.
Right. Yeah. So Negreanu's plan must be Jennifer's probably going to continue betting on the turn if she has an overpair, and I'll give up then. But she's going to tell me if she doesn't have an overpair by checking, and I can bet and win.
Yeah.
However, she has 8-6, so that's not really what he expects.
Daniel's got a bad ace high. I assume this is a float with an intention of trying to swipe it later.
Turn 5 of hearts. Tilly and Daniel now both with gut shots.
I'm going to check.
Tilly checks.
Daniel's picked up wheel out, so my guess is this would be a good time to follow through on that float.
Bet 9,000.
That's some great follow through. Bets 9,000.
He's testing Jennifer's mettle.
She rises to the challenge, makes the call.
Good call from Jen.
We'll see a river.
Looks like she knows Daniel might be up to no good.
7 of spades. Tilly hits her straight.
Jennifer just backed herself into a straight that I barely noticed.
Well, she needed to make sure.
Looks like she's going to lead at this now.
20.
Fires 20,000.
Well, I'm fairly certain Daniel knows he doesn't have the best hand, so it's pretty unlikely that he'll call. Even for Daniel, a call would be ridiculous. So it looks like there might be a little devil inside him trying to tell him to raise and take Jennifer off her hand. I don't know that Jennifer can be taken off her hand.
Look at this. Daniel is all in.
We probably have the same hand.
Not quite, but if she follows her read, she will win.
So sick.
Jennifer has about 80K behind. I think if it were more like 50, it'd be a snap call.
You have 9-jack, right?
Would that be the same hand as you have? Because if you did have that and you didn't call by now, it would be a little bizarre.
8, 9, jack. 8, 9, 10, jack. Oh, God.
These decisions are even tougher on TV. All kinds of self-leveling going on.
Why would you go all in?
Good question.
Can I call a friend?
The only person you may call is Daniel.
What do you have, Daniel?
What do I have?
Yeah.
I have a straight.
Is that what you have?
I'm straight. I thought you said
Did
we
it
had the same hand.
Is it a chop? Because that's what I have.
Oh, you have a 6? Can you raise me with a 6 out of position?
No?
That's crazy talk. Then how do you have a straight?
This is going to look so bad on TV when I fold.
No, we all knew you had a 6. That was a given.
Yeah, you didn't know when you shipped it.
Because we all know. Ken didn't know.
Ken's not even here anymore. He's
Ken's checked out.
Tilly folds.
Wow, Daniel Negreanu. Or is it David Copperfield? Because that is some kind of illusion you just pulled to get Jennifer Tilly to fold a straight for a pot-sized bet here.
Let's be clear, Daniel's intention was not to get Jennifer to fold a straight. He never thought in a million years that Jennifer had a straight in her range, having 3-bet preflop.
Yeah, he's probably targeting like 2 kings or something like that, right?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Jennifer's play on the river here. Her initial bet of 20,000 is a really good bet, and we both like it a lot.
Absolutely. Daniel's going to check back so much of his hands on the river if she checks that she's got to get some value for this straight. And even if he's going to bet, let's say, a 2-pair hand or even a 1-pair hand going for super thin value, he's not going to bet 2/3 of the pot. And he's probably going to fold to a raise. So this is the way she gets the most value, is just betting 20,000.
Right. And of course, the problem is if you end up folding your hand if you're Jennifer Tilly, which somehow manages to end up happening.
It seems impossible, though.
Right. Well, it does happen. And let's be clear about one thing here. It says Daniel's all in for 223,000, which that's how much money he has. But Jennifer has 80,000 behind after her bet, making it effectively a pot-sized bet that Daniel's put in there. It's not as huge as it looks on TV.
Yeah. Now let's also peer behind the curtain a little bit into how Daniel actually got Jennifer to fold. Okay. Because it's a few different things, right? First of all, she says, "What do you have?" And he says this.
What do I have?
Yeah.
I have a straight.
Is that what you have?
I'm straight.
That's believable. I can see the hole cards, and I believe him. I think he has a straight. He
That
did a
second
really
time?
good job.
When he says, "I have a straight," the second time, I buy it completely. I got to tell you.
I'm straight.
But at that time, he's feeling pretty comfortable. He thinks Jennifer has something like maybe 2 kings or somehow has got 2 pair at this point. I don't know how she would have that, but maybe she does. And he knows she's never going to call with a hand like that.
Yeah, he knows she's going to fold, or he believes very strongly she's going to fold until she actually turns over the 6. And now his demeanor changes pretty dramatically.
Yeah, take a look at this.
We all knew had a 6. That was a given.
Wow.
He does not look very comfortable anymore. It's like he's barely holding it together because he knows he's going to get called. He's thinking, okay, I guess it's a free roll to try to hold it together, but there's no way she's folding, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you contrast the first time he talks about having a straight, he's comfortable, he's looking right at her, he's smiling, to the second time,
We all knew had a 6. That was a given.
he's stammering, he's looking away from her, sort of moving away. He covers half his face at one point. It's really dramatic.
Yeah, it is a big change. Now, Negreanu's play makes a lot of sense. He didn't expect to run into a 6. Negreanu's the guy who's supposed to be able to have a 6.
Right.
And he could even have what Jennifer thinks he has, which is Jack 9. It makes a lot of sense for Daniel to play Jack 9 in this exact way the whole way through.
Yeah, I actually love this raise by Daniel. You can't think Jen's going to have a 6. She 3-bet pre-flop, and he can absolutely have one, as you're saying, Grant. So this is a great move to move all in. This is almost always going to work. Just isn't going to work. It's not supposed to work anyway when she has a 6 and has a straight, but somehow it does anyway. And here's the dilemma for Jennifer. So she's got this straight, but she has the worst straight.
Yeah.
And she's aware, we think, that if he's moving in for value, she's only ever chopping or losing to his value.
Right. But that's value. Daniel clearly has plenty of bluffs in his range.
Yes.
This isn't one of them that you would expect. Ace deuce with no club. But he has all sorts of hands that are like king queen of clubs hands. Stuff like that. Although he did say this pre-flop.
He would have raised like a lot more. This hand probably doesn't get called.
So he probably doesn't have king queen of clubs, but he could have any sort of club combos. And he could really have any 6, any 6-9, any maybe not Jack 9 even, because that might be too good for him to say that.
Yeah, I don't know, but he certainly can have hands that she's losing to, but since he can have bluffs too, that means she gets to win the whole pot. And maybe more to the point is this. You have to plan your hands. If you're going to bet $20,000 on the river with a straight against Daniel and there's only a pot size left back, you can't fold when he moves in. You have to bet with the intention of calling.
Right. Bet folding here is extremely exploitable, and it's not something you want to be doing against a guy who is playing exploitively against you.
Yeah.
Daniel Negreanu is not really a GTO type player, but if he's going to play GTO against anybody, it's going to be against other pros who really, really understand the GTO aspect of the game. Against Jennifer Tilly, he's going to exploit every little edge he can, as evidenced by him talking his way through this entire hand.
I mean, it's incredible. Now, and there's two things about it from Jennifer Tilly's point of view. Number one, the woman is made of money, okay?
Right.
Her ex-husband is the co-creator of The Simpsons. She's got more money than she knows what to do with. This $80,000 is kind of nothing to her. She should put it in the pot, number one. Number two, there's a huge skill discrepancy between her and Daniel. So when she has a hand this good, I just don't think she should ever fold it.
Right. And to be clear, Jonathan's not saying that if you have a bankroll problem, you should be folding here either.
That's true.
It's just, it should maybe be a factor in allowing her to be less exploitable.
Right. Now, I mean, if they were actually much deeper than this, right? If he actually moves in for 220,000, that was the effective stack, that's a really different spot.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Then she can fold, and it's a reasonable fold because he's not really repping just a 6 anymore unless he's trying to bluff her off of a chop.
But here, it's really different. You just have to call. He absolutely can be chopping with you and once in a while be bluffing, and you get to win the whole thing.
Right. It's just a time when you have to call. I know it sucks. You're on TV, and it looks like you're going to lose, at least in your mind when you're Jennifer Tilly. You think you're going to lose if you call, and you don't want that to happen. But it doesn't matter. You're just so high up in your distribution. You can't really fold against Daniel Negreanu.
Most people don't want to be bluffed on TV. It's like Jennifer Tilly doesn't want to make a good call on TV.
I guess.
Stick around because in 45 seconds, we're going to look at comments from last week's video. If you guys want to see another hand where there's a straight on the river, 4 cards to a straight, and one guy makes a play and the other guy makes a reaction that maybe isn't the best reaction to make in the world, check out Money Matters by clicking up there. Yep, right over there, actually. I don't know why you keep pointing there. Over there? I don't know. One of those, right there. It's hard to see. It's the corner. I can't see it. It's fine. One day you'll learn. That's actually a $500K buy-in tournament, too, so there's a lot on the line there for sure. Also, check out our podcast and make sure you subscribe. Last week we had a hand where crazy Norwegian Johnny Lodden bluffed crazy Scottish guy Ludovic Geilich and crazy Spanish guy Adrian Mateos out of a pot on the river, and it was just a really cool play. Boy, oh boy, it was great. That was called Can Johnny Lodden Find a Way to Win This Hand, right? By the way, if you want to see it, click right up over there. You can check it out. But let's hear what you people had to say about it. All right, so Spoke OK says, No one checks all the way down with 2 other people in the hand and has a hand worth raising in this spot. He should have jammed, in my opinion.
He being Geilich or Mateos, I assume.
I got to assume it's one of those. Probably Mateos,
Yeah.
but I don't know which one he means.
Either way, the point is that Johnny Lawden isn't repping anything, is what this guy is saying.
Yeah, right. He's saying
I
he can't really
don't
have the nuts.
entirely disagree. We talked a little bit about this last week. We said that Johnny Lawden is probably balanced enough to check the nut flush draw on the turn at least some of the time, or else this play doesn't really make any sense, like this guy is saying.
Yeah, it seems like Lawden's rarely going to actually have the nuts here, but he probably has it at least a little bit of the time. And for Mateos to jam here, I assume Geilich wouldn't be jamming, he'd be calling. He actually has something to call
He
with.
actually has showdown value.
Mateos has queen high, so he can't do that. Right? Mateos to jam here, it's such a high variance play where you're getting snapped every time Lawden's got it, and you're folding out. As it turns out, I guess he'd be folding out a better hand.
Yeah, he would.
But still, I mean, come on. That seems crazy.
Yeah, it's just really high variance.
Yeah. Okay, Michael Jones says, so this might be a dumb question. And you know what we say on the Poker Guys. There are no dumb questions, Michael.
Okay, that's it.
Only dumb people.
No, we don't say that. Come
All
on.
right. Why wouldn't Geilich...
Come on, man.
I say it. Why wouldn't Geilich donk the flop? Mateos didn't rep anything pre-flop, and neither did Lawden.
Well, Geilich could donk the flop, but
Yeah.
the second part of that comment doesn't really make too much sense. I mean, Lawden's on the button, he's raising, that means his range is wide. It doesn't mean he didn't rep anything.
Yeah.
He could have aces here, right?
Mateos isn't really repping anything because Mateos didn't 3-bet. He's calling, getting a crazy price. He has the kind of hand he's usually going to have there, more or less, right? The queen nine offsuits of the world. And Geilich has about the kind of hand you'd expect him to have. He's got probably the strongest range of the 3 of them. But Lawden can have pocket aces, right? Lawden can absolutely have the nuts. He can have anything.
Right, and also Mateos could have something like 4-5 for bottom 2 pair. I mean, just because he just called pre-flop doesn't mean he didn't flop well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and finally, Alec Grafer says, so did Geilich make a mistake in this hand on the river with his sizing, or is it just a great play by Johnny Lawden?
Second one. It's just a great play by Johnny Lawden. I think to say that Geilich made a mistake would be results-oriented.
Yeah.
This is a really rare occurrence, how this went down.
I mean so rare we never see it.
Right.
Like, we made a video about it. That's how rare it is.
We got to believe that Geilich, if he checks, is probably going to win the hand. Or if he bets a normal amount like 40,000, he's probably going to win the hand. So there is that.
But usually when Geilich bets 1.1 blinds and gets raised by Mateos, he's going to win the hand then too.
Right, he's planning on calling. He even says so right after the hand.
Yeah, absolutely. He totally is going to snap that. So it's just a really unlucky thing that Johnny Lawden is so good and Mateos makes the play also for Geilich.